Got this circular saw, gonna clean it up. Not restore it, but just tidy it up. Got a new blade for it and gonna get it operational. Welcome to Dim Tips, the channel that repairs, revives and restores. Please don't forget to subscribe just down here to support the channel and get more videos just like this. So first thing I'm going to do is open it up. There's a case or a shell here, so I've got a few screws and I'm going to go ahead and open them. Just get that open. Okay, so those three nuts are out. Now the casing can come off. Oh, look at that. Great. Lovely. Okay, so there's a laser here as well. It looks like it seemed to be broken, so I'm going to check that out. Probably give that a clean. Now what I want to do is I want to just take this guard off so that I can get underneath it. First of all, just removing the blade holding mechanisms just here. Brilliant. I'm going to keep that safe. And then I'm going to just take these off to remove the cover. Okay, I'm going to carefully just pop this up now that they're open and take the force off the spring. And then I've got some pliers. I might just take that off, being careful not to break it. Actually just slipping it out. It's nice and easy. Got the spring here. Nice, that's out too. Next is I'm going to actually take the unit off because I really do want to get underneath it. I want to make sure that the motor's fine and take off all of these points, unscrew all of these and actually take the whole assembly or the front assembly off. So I've taken the gear out, but great, I've got a lot of sawdust in there. I'm just really surprised at how deep it actually got underneath it and penetrated inside, but I've obviously made it worse, so I'm gonna have to put some kind of grease in there to help it, probably mechanical grease or something of the like. And I'm just going to remove now the cover. So I took out the long screws that are actually holding the casing together and the assembly point, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this laser. Now I had problems with it, so I'm going to just check out what's going on there. Well, the last screw that was holding it together was for the laser piece. It's actually quite tight, so I had to use my pliers, and I finally got it off to kind of leverage off the back of that. So there's the casing unit. Now should be able to pull off the assembly at the back. Just got to be careful of this laser and ensure that I'm not gonna. Right, so there seems to be an armature and I seem to be pulling out the armature, which I didn't want to do, but what can we do? We can take the back of it off, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Oh, it looks like that's not going to happen. There's going to be a bit of a problem because I'm sure, yeah, I'm going to have to take the back bit off and then take off those elements that actually stick to the armature. So anyway, it's off, so at least now I can take the back bit off and have a look at releasing the so it seemed to be one of the screws on the back plate were screws a coat of WD-40. Should be nice and easy to go back in then. Well, the good news is the clamshell is apart, so I'm just taking care of the screws. You can also see that actually the annoying thing that they've done is they've just soldered the laser element to the switch. Now I'm going to have to just be a bit careful about how I handle that, so I'll think about that in a second. But until then I'm going to actually take the back casing off so that I can actually get to the stator as well. Something I didn't notice before, the clamshell on one side actually has some nuts. So I guess that's an extra bit of rigidity that it gives, but I've taken them out as well. Also, the back plate was just an air cover, and then it also exposes the elements that touch the armature, so we can just pull those out. And what that will mean is that when I need to re-establish that connection, I can just put them back in, or slide them back in afterwards, because they'll have some spring action against them. The wear isn't so bad, there's plenty of left in regards to I think it's graphite in regards to it connecting, so I'll pull this out as well. It's nice and simply slide out. That's nice. So I'm going to release as much of the electronics and circuitry from the clamshell, because it is going to need cleaning, and I'm going to remove this so that I can pull it out of the back of the unit here, because it's all going to need cleaning. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Oh. So I've desoldered it and kept the heat shrink, well, I don't really need them, the heat shrink wrap. Now what I should be able to do is pull this out. Oh, that's a lot better, easier to work with. Able to get the unit that houses the armature, the state I believe, out. I'm just going to clip it, I think. I'm just going to clip it so that I can start cleaning that. This, on the other hand, there seems to be a bushing or pin holding it together. Pin's just in there, and I'm not going to be able to open that up, but I'm just going to go ahead and clean that now. So let me just get my bucket and everything ready. A bit of washing powder. I'm going to start scrubbing. Okay, first thing I did was brush off as much dust as I could. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush with a little bit more detail. The first brush was just quite a rough brush to get as much dust and debris off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work each section and just make sure that I can get as much of the dust and grime off. Light dusting to start off with. Okay, so I've dusted everything off, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a bit of WD-40 to kind of clean any of the grime off as well. And also, if there's anything that's rusting, it should help remove any water or debris from it. Clean all of the components inside and out. Already looking better. Everything's wiped down quite nicely, including all of the nuts and bolts that I had. So what I'm going to do is start reassembling again. Actually, no, I need to clean the plastic and dry it out. Okay, while I'm waiting for the plastic to dry, I'm just going to go ahead and reassemble this. Add some grease in here, fairly even. So I'm going to go ahead and screw that back in. So here we go, you can see it's a lot cleaner. Inside not so great, I think if I spent a little bit more time. So I'm just going to place this back in. And I think it was this way round, shouldn't matter though. And as long as the bits for the contacts are in the right spot, we should be okay. So I'm just going to slowly position that in without breaking anything, and then I'm just going to feed these through, end it up, and then just put in the very long screws on both sides. Okay, now that's ready to go in. And took the clamshell out, wired everything, and now I'm just going to add the second piece over the top. Just make sure all the wires are secure, that they're not going to pinch, because then we're going to have other types of problems. I've also taken the laser out. It doesn't work. I'm going to have to look at it. And then until then, I'm just going to put that in. Okay, we put the armature on. And now it's just about screwing the top bits in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now that's now nice and secure, I'm gonna now place these in. I'm gonna make sure that we spring them back as they're supposed to be, just across there. Slide them in, nice in, and I'll do the other one as well. Finishing up by adding on the case, or the cover, sorry, for the back of the circular saw, and gonna go and screw those in. So I haven't put the front cover on, but this is a great time for me to just test it to make sure that everything's working as it should be. So trigger's ready, power's on. Oh, brilliant. Seems to be working fine. So the final bit is to turn this all off, add on the cover, so that now this is nice and securely fastened, and I can confirm that it's not going to snag on anything, but I had to remove the actual cover for it and just get it nice and tight so that it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, that's good enough. And finally add on the final shield, which is this piece. Also, before doing so, just give it a spin to make sure that it's not going to hit anything. We're fine. The cover is great, the shield, a bit of safety, but for what I'm going to end up using it for, I'm not going to need the actual shield. So actually, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But now that I've got the blade in there, I'm going to just have to be careful with regards to how I turn this and screw everything on. Make sure that I've got the actual washers on, and place it in here. Got 3 screws to finish this off, and then this should be nice and secure. There you go, got that one in. Got 2 more to do just on the other side, one on the far side. Videos in regards to restorations, so please do check them out, link below or around here, and please don't forget to subscribe.